Disconnectors do this for two reasons. First, you want the hammer to have enough speed to hit the firing pin with enough power to activate the primer. And the second is that you don't want the hammer hitting the firing pin unless the bolt is locked. Also, if the hammer is riding the bolt carrier or sort of freely moving inside the lower receiver, you probably get a jam too. The second important feature that prevents out-of-battery explosions is that the rear of the bolt carrier is machined, it's designed and manufactured in such a way that the hammer can't touch the rear of the firing pin unless the bolt is all the way forward. So to get a better understanding of how the bolt carrier protects the firing pin from being activated until the bolt carrier is pretty far forward, we have to take a look at an AR-15 bolt carrier here. This is the firing pin, that round mechanism right there. You can hopefully kind of see that pretty well, that round thing. This little steel ledge in the back actually protects the firing pin from the hammer until the bolt carrier is pretty far forward. So the way it would work is, as the bolt carrier is moving back and forth within the AR-15, the hammer is, if it was free within the AR-15, would actually be riding along in the back here. But it wouldn't actually have access, meaning the hammer would not have access to that firing pin until the bolt carrier was so far forward that it might actually be a little bit safer to fire. This style of safety feature is not unique to the AR-15. In fact, the AK-47 has something similar also, as do other rifle designs. The third major safety feature is that the firing pin can't completely access the primer on the cartridge unless the bolt is rotated closed. There's some pretty tight tolerances involved that require the bolt to be locked before the firing pin can actually have enough travel to activate the primer. So for a more detailed explanation of this safety feature, we're going to take a look at an actual AR-15 bolt carrier group. So in the back here, you can see we have the firing pin, and I hope you guys can see that. It's a little round thing. And I'm going to hold the firing pin and push on it as if the hammer was riding behind it and was pushing on it also. Now what you'll notice, as I'm holding the firing pin forward, the firing pin will not poke out of the firing pin hole here until after the bolt is actually rotated closed. And once it's rotated closed, then it's actually safe to fire. So you can watch this area right here as I rotate the bolt closed. And you can see finally the firing pin is able to poke out. So in other words, the firing pin does not have access to the cartridge until the bolt itself is completely locked.